Hey guys, this is Naveen here. Welcome back to Naveen Automation Labs. Today we are going to talk about what is static code analysis. A lot of people they were asking this question. Can you please take one chapter on one topic on static code analysis? Although I have already prepared one full-fledged video on SonarQube setup and everything. You just go and check it over there. Now, what do you mean by static code analysis? Static code analysis is just a tool or a utility for analyzing the code without compiling it. It will never compile your code. It will just check the code that whatever the number of classes, the methods, the variables that you have declared, all these are following the best practices or not, right? So it does not have any specific compiler and it is not specific to any programming language also. It can be fit with any programming language. You can do the static code analysis for Python also, for C#, Java, JavaScript, Ruby, whatever the language that you are using it can be easily fit with that. It can be easily integrated with CI/CD pipeline as well. Then what are different features? The features, like if you see that it will just analyze the code. There is no compiler, so it will not compile your code. It will just check the code is written as per the best practices or not. It will just measure your quality gates. So we will talk about what are the different quality gates. It is much faster than the UTs and the test cases that you are writing, your regression test cases, your automation test cases. Why? Because it is not compiling your code. So obviously the static analysis will be much faster than as compared to the UTs or SITs. Then it will always follow the best practices, whatever that you have defined, or maybe some custom rules that you have defined, or the default rules provided by that tool. It will follow those rules, and then on the basis of that, it will check the quality gate. It will check your code. What is the advantage of this? Advantage is that your dev team will follow the common code base, the common code structure. The consistent code, they will be writing it by all the developers or by all the automation engineers or by all the Java developers or any specific programming developers. They are using it. They will be having the common code, the consistent code, like that. Now, what do you mean by different quality gates? So if you talk about different quality gates, first of all, it will check, is there any code smells or code duplications are there? Have you written any duplicate methods or duplicate logic, duplicate variables, or duplicate similar kind of statements that you have written where the compiler was not giving the error, but it will tell you that, okay, yeah, why are you taking unnecessary duplicate code here? So it will tell you those things as well. It will tell you that, okay, you have written some to do locating, means, okay, yeah, /to do as a comment you have written, it will be done later. So it will inspect those things also, and it does not like those things. All the naming convention for your variables, for your methods, for your classes, whatever that you are writing, all those things also it will be checked. It will in fact check your comments as well. It will check your code complexity, how complex that the code you have written. If any improvements are needed, it will definitely give you some suggestions over there. And then it will add, whatever the try catch or finally blocks, let's say you have written and you are not handling properly with respect to try catch block or any exception that you are not handling it, or any, let's say you are not closing the file system or database connection inside the finally block, it will check those things as well for sure. Other than that, unused imports, method returns also very important. Let's see, in the specific method, you have number of if conditions and all the if conditions are returning true, and else you are not returning anything and there is no method return also. So in that case, it will check and it will give you suggestion. It will raise a bug over there. Okay, no, this method is not returning anything, or wrong return or duplicate returns, like that. If else statement merging, it will check if number of nested unnecessary if else conditions that you have written or common if else condition that you have written, it will immediately catch those, and then it will check that, okay, yeah, is it fine or not as per the rules. And there are so many rules are defined, different programming languages, you can define it over there. So please remember this thing, it can be fit with Java also, it can be fit with Python also, it can fit with JavaScript, it can be fit with PHP, or any different programming languages are available. You can define with that, and you can define the best practices, and then you can check the code quality gates there. Fine. Also, along with that, it will give you the code coverage as well, right? What is a code coverage? It will check you that, okay, fine, how many unit level test cases that you have written. It will tell you that unit test cases coverage or code coverage also. It will give it to you that you have how many coverage, how many UTs that you have written, how many test cases you have written against your methods or utilities or the libraries that you have already covered in your framework or in your system. Now the question is that where exactly I can fit this guy, static code analysis, where exactly I can fit this. So in your CI/CD pipeline. So let's see, this is my CI/CD pipeline. If you can see this typical CI/CD pipeline, I got this image from the Google, where this is your version control. It could be It could be anything. Let's see, I'm using Git repository, I'm building it with the help of Maven, and then I'm running my test cases over there, then deploying it and automation test cases and deploying to production, and then measure plus validate. I'll do it on the production side. So in this complete CI/CD process, I'm not using anywhere. So where exactly we have to fit this static code analysis or static code utility or the library or the tool, where exactly we have to fit that. So let's see some various examples over there. Let's see, for example, in case of CI/CD pipeline with the help of Jenkins that you are using it. Here you can see, okay, this is the developer. The developer will push the code to the Git repository, and then we will do start the Git, the complete pipeline. And this is the static code analysis. And then it will build the project, then it will deploy, and then integration test cases will be running. And then whenever any static code analysis, the report is coming to the Slack channel, after build also, after deploy also, after integration also, the reports are coming to the Slack channel. But anyway, that's a different thing. But here, this static code analysis is important, which is done by the different tools. For example, let's see, we have SonarQube, okay, or CodeSense. There are multiple tools, or SonarLint is available. There are multiple tools are available. You can easily integrate in your CI/CD pipeline, and then you can check all the quality gates over there. Fine. See why we need this code analysis. The important thing is that, let's see, these are the developers. This is developer number 1, developer 2, developer 3, and 4. Everyone is having their own style of designing the code. They are having their own style of using certain patterns, certain methods, certain classes, right? So if this guy is using some different design pattern, or maybe some different style of writing the code, this guy is different and this guy is different. So obviously you will not get the consistency in your code, right? Whenever someone is reading your code and analyzing the code, so code that should be what? Completely inconsistent in that case, but it should be consistent among all the developers according to the best practices. So what exactly these developers they will do, let's see, this is a one team. And what exactly they will do that, okay, fine, this is another team over here. Team number 1, 4 members. Team number 2, 4 members. And then this is another team over here. We will do a meeting with all the developers from the different teams, that these are the best practices that we are going to define, okay, for this Java project or for this Python project. And then this code will be defined by, the rules are defined by SonarQube. We are going to use a common static code analysis tool, and then the rules are common for all the teams. So what will happen that, okay, yes, that all the developers are using the same code pattern, same errors they are getting it when the static code analysis is done, and they all are following the same certain best practices in that particular project or in that particular team among all the teams within the same organization you are using it. So that's why this is very important to follow certain patterns, to follow certain guidelines and the best practices. Then let's see some more interesting thing. If you see this Blue Ocean pipeline, this is my complete pipeline written in Blue Ocean. Here you can see that, okay, fine, see, setup, unit level test cases, integration test cases, build with Puppet, copy the var, fetch the version, database migration is done, and then static code analysis is done. But the static code gates, quality gates got failed over here. And then it will generate a publishing, it will generate a dashboard, it will publish the dashboard, what are the errors and the problems are there in your code. For example, let's see, this is the example. See, it will give you a complete dashboard over here. This is a sample project that I have created, where you can see that, okay, total number of bugs are 0, but there are code smells are available, 57 depths and 57 tech depths, and the 4 depths, and then 57 code smells are available, like that. The coverage is good, 100% coverage. There are no duplications code, like that. So it will give you a nice dashboard, which will tell you that, okay, what are the code smells? Are you using any duplicate codes, the variable name, try catch block, if else conditions, and certain examples I can show you right now. Again, see, this is a typical CI/CD pipeline for the Angular project. For Angular project also, see, it is doing a SonarQube scanner for the Angular application. Once the Jasmine unit level test cases are done, it will execute your SonarQube, and then it will publish the report for JavaScript projects also, or for Angular projects also. It can be easily fit over there as well. Then certain examples, see this example. This is a code, there are a number of if conditions, else conditions are written, if else, if else. Here if you see that, okay, it will, this is a SonarQube analysis. It will tell, change this condition so that it does not always evaluate to false. Why? Because here you can see that, okay, exactly same condition over here. Hit is equal to thumb underscore start, and one more else if it's having the same condition, hit thumb underscore start or something like that. So what is the need of this second else if condition? By mistake, developer has written over there, compiler will not give you error, but here SonarQube will catch certain problems like that. Okay, this is a very simple example that see I have given. Then let's proceed further. Then see this carefully. It's saying remove this condition, the structure or edit its code blocks so that they are not at all the same. Why? Because see this condition, outbound transport equal to null and outbound transport equal to null under the same if condition that I have written over here. You have already checked this particular value equal to null. Then why are you checking this condition once again with another if block in the same if condition over here? There is no point to do that. So this is a kind of ugly code that you are writing it. Compiler will not catch these kind of issues. According to compiler, this is fine. It will be executed also, but here it will give you error in the SonarQube or during the static code analysis that, okay, yeah, this is a problem with this application. This is at line number 112. It is giving you error in this particular file, .java file. In this particular method, this is the code smell like that. And it's saying it's a major issue. So it will tell you that, okay, what kind of issue? It is a major issue or critical or blocker or something like this. So when you open this drop down, you will see number of categories, number of varieties of issues. So it will say, okay, it's a kind of bug in this code, and then it's a kind of major bug like that. Let's see some more example. Let's see, I have this visit method. In this visit method, it's saying resource.getProject is not equal to null, then return true. Then if this condition is not satisfied, then you come over here and then do this else if, and then else if is done, and then you are writing a return method also. Return true once again. So means what? This is your method return once again. It means if this condition is satisfied, in that case also you are going to give you true. If the condition is not satisfied, then again you are going to give a true over here. So it means that's a problem with the code. It's saying that, okay, yeah, refactor this method to not always return the same value. It is exactly returning the same value from the same method, either if the condition is satisfied or not. So in that case, this is also a kind of code smell, the problem with the code actually, right? Compiler will not give you these kind of errors. Then let's see some example. Use try with resources or close with jar file in finally close. This is a very common practice that we have to follow. Whenever you are reading any file, for example, let's say I'm reading this particular file from this particular path, and the path we are passing to this particular method, the scan jar path. And see here, we are not writing any finally block because you are creating the object of jar file path. The connection has been established with this particular file with the help of this file path, but you are not closing it. So you are writing one if, you are writing one catch. Let's see if any failed to parse annotation or something like this, but where is your finally block? So you have to create one finally block where this jar file, you have to flush the object, right? Or you have to do what? You have to close the connection as well. So this is the finally block that you have to write, but this is missing. That's why saying use try with resources or close this jar in a finally clause over here. So this is another example. It will catch you immediately in your code, and it will give you a complete dashboard complete dashboard report on SonarQube server. Right, guys? So these are the important concepts with respect to SonarQube. Now there are different tools are available in the market. Certain tools, like if you see this, SonarQube is there. So let's see SonarQube. Generally we say it's SonarQube, which is very popular. We have SonarLint. SonarLint is available in the form of one plugin also on IntelliJ. The moment you write the code, immediately it will tell you this is what I have used multiple times. Okay, this is your check style. Then CodeSense also is there. This is also CodeScene, actually not CodeSense. CodeScene is also available like that. And IntelliJ also, there are multiple plugins also available. You can easily use that. So these are different tools. On this particular topic, I have already prepared a video, how to set up SonarQube, how to publish the report, how to create a dashboard, create a project in SonarQube, how to integrate with your CI/CD pipeline. Everything is covered over there. You can go and check it like that. This is a very common thing, guys. So please don't be confused between static code analysis and the UTs, because it is not going to check the feature of the application. It's not going to check the functionality of the application. This is just to measure your code according to the best practices. And remember, the best practices you have to define with the developers. What happens whenever you're using SonarQube? It will give you certain rules for different programming languages. Let's say you are using Java, right? Okay. And in this particular Java, there are 50 rules are available. Right, and these developers, they will follow the certain rules. 50 rules are available, but you can customize the rule also, guys. You can delete some rules, you can update some rules as well, and you can create a new rule also. You can delete some rules and you can customize or update the rules also. You can do that. So it's not compulsory that, okay, what if the rules are defined by SonarQube by default, you can add some more rules also. You can delete some inbuilt rules also, that, okay, this kind of rules, I don't want that in my project. Okay, after discussion with all the developers, then you suggest, okay, fine, these are the rules are not needed for this particular project, we can remove it. Those things also you can easily do that with these tools. But once are defined, then they all the developers, they all are on the same page, right? They all are following the exactly same. So that's all about the static code analysis. I hope this is clear now. You got the idea what do you mean by static code analysis, different tools, configurations, and how exactly it can fit into your CI/CD pipeline with various examples. Thank you so much, guys. If you really like this video, please comment, like, and share. And then I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care and God bless you all.